Good afternoon, good morning, whenever you are signing in. It is March 23rd. Hope you had a good spring break. I'm home in Seguin and hoping you're having a good day. So you'll need a piece of paper and pencil, and you'll need to follow along. On the I do's, I need you to pay attention to what I'm doing and why, and then we will do the we do's together. After 7 new students joined in a class, the class had 29 students. Which equation can we use to find n, the number of students in the class before 7 new students joined? I need you to pay attention. Now I need you to pay attention. This is my turn. It is my show. After 7 new students joined the class had 29 students. Which equation can be used to find n, the number of students in the class before 7 new students joined? Now, Miss Teiglin said that I need to first do my cubes. So I'm going to circle my numbers. Circle. So 7's a number, 29's a number. And then I also know it says which equation can be used to find n. N is a number. We just don't know what it is. So it's an unknown. And after I circle my number, I need to underline. So I'm going to underline the question. Well, after I underline my question, I need to box. What am I boxing? Miss Teiglin says I need to box the important words. Not just any words, but the important words. So I'm going to box new because that tells me something. And I'm going to box students, so new students. I'm going to box students. And then I'm going to box equation because it's going to tell me I need to have an equation. So that means it's going to be equals. So now what I need to do is find out how. Okay, so after 7 new students, so it's going to be 7 plus. This is going to be add. I'm going to find some add. All right. So after that, I'm going to find what it is. Okay. So now I've added this. Add is part of the evaluate factor. So we're going to evaluate what we need to do. So evaluating is add. I'm going to look for this. This is division. So since that's divide, it's trash. Throw it away. There's add on B. So we're going to make a question mark on that one. And then N take away 7. Since they're adding students, that's subtract. That's trash too. So we're going to trash that and get rid of that. And then this is multiply. So that's trash. Get rid of that. So the only one that works is B. That's our answer. So let's move on. I'm going to give you a minute to look at this. See if you can find something you can do to get the answer. Give me the and find out what the answer is, and we'll work it out together in a little bit. And pause the video until you're ready. So now that you've gone through it, and hopefully you paused it, we're going to work this out. After 5 new students joined the class had 43 students. Which equation can we find n, the number of students in the class before 5 new students joined? So again, we have 5 new students, and after the students joined, it was 43. So definitely it was an addition. So we're going to use our cubes. Cubes isn't anything. They're except circle, underline, box, evaluate and eliminate, and solve. So we have to first circle our numbers. There we go, right there, circle. Remember, n is an unknown number, so you need to circle n. Now, they have a n before the students came in, and then they added 5. So, what is that? Make sure we underline our question. What is that? Is that subtract, add? All right, it was add. So we're adding. So A is divide. It's trash. Get rid of it. Then we have and take away 5. Well, that's not adding, that's subtracting. So that's trash. Throw it away. N plus 5. Well, that looks like that might work. So we're going to leave that as a question mark. And then we've got 5n. Well, that means it's multiplication. There's an invisible multiplication between 5 and n. So multiply. And this is add. I forgot add here. So that's trash. This for multiply. Definitely C is our answer. Okay, we've got I do. Which situation could represent by the equation 12.25 equals 7.5n? Okay, so Miss Tigeland says, don't forget to do your cubes. C is circle. So I'm going to circle my numbers. Okay? And then I'm going to underline my question. Not much of a question here to underline, but there we go. Now I need to box my important phrases. Now, answers, but in this case, I think it's very important. So we have the equation here, which is equals. And so we're looking at the equation of 12.25 equals 7.5n. Miss Tigeland says when there's no symbol between the number and the letter, it is multiplication. So we're looking for phrases in the answers that are going to be multiplication. Byron ran, so we're looking at F. Byron ran a total of 12.25 miles. He ran 7.25 miles each hour. So this is multiply. This could work. So we're going to put a question mark here. Byron ran 7.5 miles. He ran each mile in 12.25 minutes. Well, looking at this, it's going to be multiplication. This doesn't look like much. The total minutes it took Byron to run, and so we're going to take a look at this as a possibility. Oh, maybe not. It's not, doesn't look like it works. Okay, so each mile is 7.25 miles. What is N? the number of minutes it took Byron to run 7.5 miles. So I'm going to trash it. Byron ran a total of 12.25 miles on Monday. He ran 7.5 miles in the morning, the rest in the evening. Well, this is kind of like addition. This is add. That's really not what we need. It's junk. Throw it away. Byron ran 12.25 hours one week and 7.5 hours next week. What is the number of this? Again is addition. That's trash. Get rid of it. So the only one that really fits is F. Now, I didn't mention E, but in this whole process we did evaluate by going through, and we solved it by also going through the steps. When you mark this, make sure you show why you're not choosing the answers, as well as why you are choosing. And now I'm going to tell you to pause and work this problem out yourself. The situation could be represented by equation 11.75 and 8n. So we're going to start by circling our numbers and underline. So now we need to box our important words. Remember, we can box in here, and we've got a box also inside our answers. So we have here and here, that matches here. Then we've got N. The total number of hours Carlos ran during these weeks. So total number. So looking at that total number kind of looks like this is an add. It's garbage. Throw it out. Carlos ran a total of 11.75 miles on Monday. He ran 8.5 miles in the morning and the rest of the miles in the evening. This is also add. Throw it away. It's garbage. We're not looking for addition. We're looking for multiplication. Carlos ran 8.5 miles, and he ran each mile in 11.75 minutes. So this looks like multiply. But I'm not too sure about this. Let's see how this works here. Carlos ran a total of 11.75 miles. He ran 8.5 miles each hour. Each. Wow, I think that fits because it's each hour, which is also multiply. This fits even better. Multiply. So this is garbage. This fits. So the answer is J. James owns a hot dog cart. He sells an average of 75 hot dogs per day during the spring. Which graph shows his relationship between the number of days and the number of hot dogs sold? So we're going to circle our numbers. We see our numbers all in each graph. No other numbers, really. But we want to know per day. So that's like one day right there. So I'm going to box per day. And I'm going to box hot dogs because it pertains to the 75. Which graph best shows the relationship? So we're going to underline our question. And then we are going to go in and box the important words, and we just did that. Miss Teiglin was ahead of that. Miss Teiglin also says that I need to evaluate. So I'm looking for hot dogs per day. So let's do our graph. I've got we've got the independent, which is the day, and we've got the dependent, which is hot dogs. So we've got 1 day, and we've got 75. So I know that I'm going to multiply times 75. So 2 days times 75 is going to be 150. So I'm going to match my dots up. So remember that the independent variable is always going to be x. The dependent is always going to be y. So let's see if this matches. Okay, so if you look over here on A, the number of hot dogs sold is going to be, it is here on the independent variable. It does not match. Throw it away. It's garbage. So we have another one that says number of hot dogs sold on D. That also is garbage. Toss that. We don't need it that way. Let's see what else matches. So if you look at the 1 and this one, this looks like it's just a tad over. It's kind of like 175. Well, that doesn't look like it works. Let's look at this one. This one goes up, and that's just under 100. That matches. But just to verify, we're going to check out C. 2 is 150. So here's 2, and it's halfway between 400 and 200, so that's at 300. Well, that doesn't match our table, so it's garbage. Toss that. So the answer is B. So take a look at this. Young adults in Dallas sent an average of 440 texts per week in 2019, which graph shows the relationship between numbers of weeks and the number of texts. So pause the video and see if you can figure out the answer yourself. All right, let's do this together. So first of all, we are going to circle our numbers. We're going to circle 140. And then we're going to underline the question. They want us to figure out which graph best shows the number relationship between the number of weeks and the number of texts. I'm going to underline the question, which I did, and then I'm going to box the important words. They have 140 texts per week, so we've got per. Per indicates multiply, so this is multiplicative. The graph shows between the number of weeks and the number of texts. So there's our graph. We can find a spot for this. All right, this is going to be our X. This is going to be our Y. This is our X, and this is our Y. We need to label everything X and Y, X and Y, X and Y. Independent variable is the week. I'm going to use week here. And our dependent variable is text. So let's eliminate the incorrect one. So looking at that, we have X is the week. Number of weeks is in A. Number of texts is B. So that's trash. And then we have the number of weeks, which is in C. And number of texts, which is trash, in D. So toss out B and D. So now we need to figure out, we've got week 1, and the text is 140. So we're going to multiply because it's multiplicative. And then we've got 2 times 140. So that's going to be 280. So let's see what fits. We've got 140. We're going to look at 1 and 1. That's about right. That's about just under halfway. That will fit. This could be it. We're just going to question mark that. Now let me see this. We've got 1 and that's about 40 right there. Well, that doesn't even match. So get rid of that. The answer is A. Which situation can be represented by the equation y equals 2x? Well, Ms. Tyler said that y can be replaced by an irregular number, so can x. When there's nothing between 2 and x, or a number and a letter, it means multiplication. So I'm looking for hints in my answers that are going to be multiplication. So I'm going to underline my question, circle my numbers. So Mary went to school for X years. Well, that is the total there. This here is supposed to be the total here, which is the y. This is 2 times y. Well, this here says 2 times x. 2 times x. So that's garbage. Mary is y feet. So that's a total. This amount is 2 times x. Well, that works. So this might work as our answer. I'm going to see. Mary is y feet high. This amount is 2 times y. Well, if you look at this, 2 times x. So C is garbage. Toss it out. Mary is y years old. That kind of makes sense. Her age is 2 years greater. So it's 2 plus x here than her sister's age. Well, that's garbage. So the other answer is B. Here. So it's your turn. Practice it. Pause the video again, please. Alright, so hopefully you worked it out. The situation can be represented by the equation x equals 3x. So this is 3 times x. So here we go. We'll underline our question. Circle. Jamal went to school for X years. So that's our answer. This is 3 times y. Well, we're looking for 3 times x. So this is garbage. Jamal is x feet high. This amount is 3 times y. Well, again, we're not looking for 3 times y. We're looking for 3 times x. So that's garbage. Jamal is y years old. The amount is 3 times x. That sounds about right. Jamal's brother is. So we're going to question mark it. That might be it. So question mark. Jamal is y years old. Her age is 3 times greater. 3 years greater. So we have 3 plus x here, then x. So that's garbage. The only one that works is C. So if you got C, good job. Give yourself a pat on the back. Give a dance. Whatever works for you. All right, so on Wednesday, 73% of the customers who brought gas at gas station made additional purchases. There were 200 customers who bought gas. How many of their 200 customers made additional purchases? Ms. Teiglin says to circle the numbers. So I've got 73, which is a number, and 200s. Then Ms. Teiglin says that we need to underline the question. Now, after I do that, Ms. Teiglin also said that I need to box the important words. So we have of, which is multiply, but this is just a proportion. So I need to write my proportion because I know that if I did 73 over 100 like Ms. Teiglin taught me to, and this is part, this is whole, and this was whole, this 200, and that's a whole, and I need to line them up. Ms. Teiglin said, make sure you line up the units correctly. So this is whole. I don't know what the part is here. All right, so now that I've got my proportion set up and I've boxed my important words because they need to know how many and of, I need to evaluate. Well, I've evaluated, I've decided to use a proportion on this. Now I need to eliminate any extra information. There is none. There's no extra information. Let's see what else Ms. Teiglin wants me to do. Ms. Teiglin says now I need to solve. In a proportion, I need to cross multiply. So 200 times 73, because this is multiplying. So I have 73 times 200. And then I've got 100 times x. 100 times x. Now 73 times 200. I need to make sure I do this right. So I could just write it 73 times 200 like that, but that's not going to serve me right very well. I'm going to erase that. Let me write this another way. So 200 times 73. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 0 is 0. 3 times 2 is 6. 7 times, oh, I need my placeholder. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 2 is 14. So let me do my addition here. 6 plus 0 is 6. 4 plus 0 is 4. Now I can write this in on our answer. So 73 times 200 is 14,600 equals 100 times x. Remember that it's 100x. Now I need to isolate. Ms. Teiglin has told me to isolate my letters away from my numbers and make them go by themselves. They don't always like friends, so we want them to be alone. So I'm going to divide by 100 because 100 divided by 100 is 1. So that'll make that go away and it's going to be 1x. So I'm also going to divide by 100. And I'm going to take my side notes, and Ms. Teiglin told me that I can get rid of zeros if they match. So this has 2 zeros, this has, when 100 has 2 zeros, this one has 2 zeros. I can cross the 0 here, and I can cross the 0 here, and it makes it one less to divide. I can cross a 0 here and a 0 here. Now there's a 1 under it, so it leaves it as 146, because 146 divided by 1 is 146 equals x. So my answer is going to be 146. I need to make sure I put this in right here. And this is a positive. Make sure I put it in positive. And I fill it in. Let's see if this will cube. 146. 0. Color it in. Come on. Color it in. There we go. 146. All right. Our answer is positive 146. Yay. Okay. I want you to work this out the same way. Use a proportion on this. Don't forget the steps I've used, including cubes. I'm going to talk you through it. Okay. No pausing this time. On Monday, 45% of the customers who brought gas at the gas station made additional purchases. There are 280 customers who bought gas. How many of these 280 customers made additional purchases? First of all, I need you to circle your numbers. Can you do it? Good. Now, if you're doing it on a plain piece of paper, on the side piece of paper, you can write 45%, and you can write down 280s, so you know. Now that you have your number, you're going to underline the question. Now that sometimes you can't underline the question because you have the side paper. I understand that. We are doing our best. So at least you want to write out what you want. So maybe you can write how many of these customers made additional purchase, something where you understand what needs to be done. Okay, now that you have written out your questions, you need to box the important words. So on Monday, let's see what we have. I would box customers. So if you can't box it in, write in customers. Something that gives you a hint of what to do. So now you need to evaluate. You need to do your E. What kind of question is this? What did I do before when I showed this? We actually did a proportion. All right, we did proportion. Okay, how do you set up a proportion? Set up your proportion now. How do you set up a proportion? How do you set up a fraction out of a percent? Remember? Write it now, then put it in your proportion. All right. So, hopefully you've written it as 45 over 100 in your fraction. This is our part. This is our whole. And there are 280 customers. So this was a whole. This is a part. We need to line it up. So our whole here is going to be 250. Do we know our part? If you said no, yeah, you're correct. No, we don't. So in that place, we're going to use an X. So now that we have our portion setup, what is the first thing you do? Anybody say cross multiply? Yeah, cross multiply. So we're going to multiply. So 250 times make sure we write this here, times 45 equals, because these are going to be equal when we do our butterfly, so that needs to be correct. So these are equal when we cross multiply. 100x. Now we're going to do our multiplication. 250 times 45. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2 is 12. Now we're going to hold our spot. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20. Carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8 plus 2 is 10. So it looks like I need to take this and add. Okay, I can do it. Move it here a bit so we can do this. All right. Try again. 250 times 45. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12. We're going to put our placeholder. 4 times 0 is 0. 4 times 5 is 20, carry the 2. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. Add 0, 5, 2, 1, 1. All right, so 250 times 45 is 11250 equals 100x. We're going to isolate x, and I'm going to move my answers down here. So 100x equals 11250. Divided by 100, 100 times 100. 100 divided by 100 is 1, so that leaves 1x, which is what we want, divided by 100. And now we've got a to remove a 0 from there, and it makes it easier. Now we can divide this by 10. So 1125 divided by 10. We've got 1. 1 times 10 is 10. Remainder 1. Bring down the 2 is 12. There's 1 left. 1 times 10 is 10. Get remainder of 2. Bring down the 5. And then we've got 10 into 25, which is 2. 2 times 10 is 20. Remainder of 5. We got to put in our decimal and bring down our 0. 10 into 50 is 5. So we've got our answer is 1112.50. Now, because there's limited space here, I'm going to erase some of the space so we can enter in our answer. Hopefully you took some of the notes. So hopefully I will get better as this goes by. So let's fill it in. 0, 5, 2, 1, 1. We have a positive, and then we get to fill in our answer. One, 2, 5, 0. And we are complete. We're done. So go in on to Google Classroom and follow my instructions on how to do the rest.